Take a slow breath in. Allow your attention to settle. Now imagine you are involved in a conversation that has been building toward an important agreement. It might be a partnership you have been developing for months, a client contract that could significantly expand your business, or an investment discussion that has moved through several promising meetings. The conversations have been constructive. Ideas have been exchanged. The possibility of working together has been discussed openly. And recently the discussion started moving toward final decisions. Then something changes. A new condition appears. The other side asks for an additional concession before moving forward. Perhaps they request better pricing. Perhaps they want broader access to your product. Or perhaps they ask for additional guarantees. The request arrives just as the agreement seems close. Your mind immediately begins evaluating the moment. Is this simply part of the negotiation? Or is something more strategic happening here? You pause before reacting. Requests that appear late in a negotiation can come from several different situations, and each situation requires a slightly different response. The first possibility is straightforward. The request may reflect a genuine internal concern. Perhaps someone new joined the conversation. Perhaps legal or finance teams are reviewing the details. Or perhaps a risk that seemed small earlier now feels more significant as the agreement approaches. In this situation, the request is not about leverage. It is about reassurance. If this is the case, the conversation usually becomes clearer once the concern is discussed openly. You might calmly ask, what part of this feels most important to clarify before moving ahead? Their explanation will often reveal the specific concern that needs to be addressed. The second possibility is different. The request might be a test. When an agreement seems close, people sometimes introduce a small adjustment to see how flexible the other side becomes. This is not necessarily hostile. It is simply a way of measuring how much the deal matters to you. If enthusiasm turns into urgency, leverage quietly shifts. So instead of reacting quickly, you slow the conversation slightly. You acknowledge the request and ask, if we found a way to address that point, would that allow us to finalize the agreement? This question does something important. It connects the concession to commitment. If the request was exploratory, the conversation will often become more concrete. The third possibility is more subtle. Sometimes a new request appears because the other side is still uncertain about the decision itself. The agreement may look close on the surface, but internally they are still evaluating alternatives. In this situation, the request is not really about the detail being discussed. It is a signal that the decision has not fully settled. Rather than negotiating the point immediately, you shift the focus slightly. You might ask, what would need to become clear for this decision to feel fully confident on your side? This question opens the conversation beyond the single request. and often the underlying uncertainty begins to appear. Take another slow breath. Notice how the situation feels different now. The request is no longer just pressure. It becomes information. Each possible explanation reveals something about incentives, priorities, or uncertainty. And instead of reacting emotionally, you are calmly exploring the structure of the interaction. Because in many strategic situations, the first signal is rarely the full story. Clarity appears when the conversation gently reveals what is really shaping the decision.